Hey, it is Vince, and let's kick off another year here on the RR Show. We're going to do it grab bag style, why don't we? All right, we got Petty Revenge, we got Tales from Your Server, r/TIFU, and maybe a little bit of creepiness to wrap up this episode. It's going to be fun, I promise. At least I hope. So what the heck? Let's start the RR Show right now. Our first story comes from r/TalesFromYourServer. Posted by user Courtney Climax. Had a woman try to cash herself out at a point of sale today. So we were short a server and a manager today. 3 servers, no expo, no food runner, no busser, no cashier, no host, no manager, basically, no help. For important context, customers pay at the front, and it makes cashing people out incredibly inconvenient when we're doing a million other things. We each had about 8 to 10 tables, and every other table in the restaurant was dirty. It was a nightmare coming out of the kitchen. Hands full, I see about 6 people at the door waiting to be sat. At this point, I'm questioning how badly I need heat this winter because, screw this job. When, with my own eyeballs, I see this great value Sybil Trelawney-looking woman behind our cashier point of sale tapping on the screen. Y'all, my flabber was gasted. I stopped dead in my tracks, hands full of plates, and just stared at her like she had 8 heads. I dropped the plates off at a table and slowly walked to the cashier stand, still with the same dumbfounded look on my face. I say, "Is there something I can help you with?" "Oh, I need to pay." Her friend says she's trying to figure out how to use your computer. Both of these women are behaving as though this is perfectly normal behavior. As though I'm chastising a toddler, I slowly and clearly say, "Okay, if you could remove yourself from behind our cashier stand and return to the customer side, I can do that for you." The initial look of shock still on my face, I cash them out. They tip 20% and tell me to have a nice day, as if attempting to access a restaurant point of sale with a register attached is perfectly normal brunch activity. Edit. To everyone saying we need to hire more people, I'd love to thank you for your helpful advice. That never occurred to us as we were running around begging for a manager to help us. I will be sure to pass this brand new, never before thought of advice to our manager. Our next story comes from r/Petty Revenge, posted by user lowcontact7809. Classmate turned on me, then begged me for bus fare home. Happened almost 30 years ago back in elementary school, so memory and details are a bit hazy. Maybe 11 years old? There was a new international student in our class, Jim, and we got along fine. We both liked video games, but he eventually befriended other kids and adopted a not-so-nice attitude towards me. We went from friendly interactions to him calling me names and putting me down. Complete 180. At the very last day of school, after school was over, I went to the corner store on the way home and played on the arcade machines. It was common for corner stores to have video games back in the 90s, usually head-to-head fighting games. Jim walked in and saw me playing. He decided to pop a quarter to join in. He was from overseas and definitely better than me. Always beat me before when we played. But I got lucky that day and just ended up winning. Every time he lost, he would pop another quarter in. He was probably on tilt. He probably dropped 3 or 4 quarters on me by now. It's likely 3:45 p.m. We're in the middle of our match, and one of our classmates walks into the store. She sees Jim and says, "Hey, your dad's looking for you. He says you're late." My memory here is hazy, but it turned out that Jim was supposed to take the bus to go home after school, possibly because they had a flight to catch at the airport. Jim started to panic and begged me for spare change. Youth bus fare back then was only 75 cents at the time. He spent all of his change trying to beat me. I refused. He ended up getting bus fare from the store owner. The next story in this episode comes from r/TIFU, posted by user AppleGoose1107. TIFU by giving an incest-themed white elephant gift. My husband's family have a Christmas tradition with their white elephant gift exchange, where one of the gifts is a Donnie and Marie Barbie dolls. The tradition is that whoever gets them must bring them back for the following Christmas with a new outfit and a poem about their year with you. 2 years ago, I finally got Donnie and Marie. However, we couldn't bring them the following year as we were all sick. So this year, we had to make it good. Over the 2 years we had the dolls, I had gotten pregnant and gave birth to our second son. So we thought, let's make Marie pregnant, and as an added bonus, let's make them renew their vows and dress them in wedding dress and suit. Skip to Christmas Eve when we're coming to the last few presents. We started at 16, and people are getting antsy about who will find Donnie and Marie. Our cousin, a 19-year-old female, picks up the box and starts opening it to a very pregnant Marie. I used modeling clay, in a wedding dress and a snazzy Donnie. Some of the aunts and uncles start talking and mention that Donnie and Marie are brother and sister, as in Donnie and Marie Osmond. My husband didn't know their last name and never really paid attention to the stories from previous years. I knew their last name but assumed they were married. My husband was like, "What?" Well, just wait for the poem. With each line that our cousin read, people are crying from laughing as it gets worse and worse. Buckle up, because here's the poem that we wrote. We are sorry we missed seeing you all last year. We were sick, but are now back and full of cheer. To fill you all in on our long time away, we wore outfits from our last favorite day. We renewed our vows and remarried while we were gone. We tried to invite you, but got the addresses all wrong. Afterward, our party was such a huge blast, but whoops, we got pregnant. It happened so fast. Now we're scrambling, preparing our home. Donnie's covering the house in protective foam. He's a bit of a nutball, but I think he'll be fine, just as long as he feeds me and stays in line. My cravings are kicking in, so I will make this fast. If I don't get chocolate pickles, this day is Donnie's last. Just know that every Christmas memory we forever hold dear. So, please make sure you bring us to celebrate next year. We are so grateful for what the future holds. I guess you never know how your story unfolds. So, for whoever has us next year, just keep this in mind. We can't wait to see what adventure life leads us to find. This ended up making this Christmas as one of the funniest and best Christmases we've had in a long time. Our final story comes from the Spooky Files, from r/True Scary Stories, posted by user ThoughtsHer. I think I almost got kidnapped. This happened during my freshman year of college. I was taking a theater appreciation class, and we had to attend some of the plays the theater department put on. Normally, I went with some friends, but for this one, I had to go alone since I had another event when my friends went. The play started at 6:30, so I set out on the short 10-minute walk to the theater. When I arrived, I saw a man standing by the entrance. Out of habit, I smiled at him. I tend to do that with strangers. He smiled back. But there was something about him that made me feel uneasy. He got in line right behind me, and while we waited, I overheard him muttering to himself about his car, where it was parked. I wasn't really paying attention until I heard him say, "Where are you sitting?" I thought he was talking to someone else, so I didn't respond. Once my ticket was scanned, I went in and found my seat. But then, to my surprise, the same man sat down right next to me, and I heard him mumble, "I can't believe it," right next to me. His tone sent a chill through me, but I tried to ignore it. He was probably in his early 30s, and soon enough, he turned to me and started asking questions. Too many questions. "Do you come to these plays often?" he asked. I told him no. He quickly launched into how he was a regular and loved them, even mentioning that his girlfriend was in the play that night. I was still creeped out, but I felt a twinge of guilt for judging him so quickly. Maybe he was just being friendly. But then, something strange happened. Everything I said, he had the same interests, the same experiences. It was unsettling. When he asked what kind of music I liked, I decided to mention Regina Spektor, a lesser-known artist, thinking he wouldn't know her. His response, "Oh, I love Regina Spektor. She's amazing. I listen to her all the time." It was too much. He was agreeing with everything I said, and the more he did, the more uncomfortable I felt. Right before the play started, a woman around his age sat on my other side. The moment she sat down, he went quiet. Then oddly, the woman struck up the same kind of small talk with me. She even asked similar questions, almost as if they had compared notes. As she talked, she touched my arm a few times in this weird, too familiar way, just like the man had done earlier. I felt trapped between them. Thankfully, the play started and everyone went silent, but I could still feel their eyes on me, watching me the whole time. At intermission, the man offered to get me something from the concessions. I declined, but he kept on insisting. "I'll surprise you," he said in a tone a little bit too eager. I kept saying no, but he seemed frustrated and eventually got up to leave. As soon as he was gone, the woman picked up right where he left off, asking me about singing because she thought my voice sounded pretty. I told her I used to sing in high school but had stopped. Again, she touched my arm while she talked more than once, and it made my skin crawl. When the man returned, he brought back some M&Ms and Milk Duds, both of which looked like they had already been opened. He offered me the Milk Duds and I declined. He didn't eat them either, just placed them on the floor like he wasn't sure what to do next. Then he started asking some more personal questions about my family and whether I came to college alone. I lied, telling him I lived with my brother in an apartment far from where I actually stayed. That's when he leaned in and told me he was an amateur music producer and that I had a great voice. I should just come by his place sometime to record. He just happened to live near where I said I lived. It was all too much, and the tension in my chest just would not go away. Then his phone buzzed. He quickly looked at it and tried to hide the screen. But I saw the message. "She's really cute. Do you think she'll work?" My heart was racing. I wanted to bolt right then and there, but I didn't know what to do. The woman beside me suddenly touched my arm again and whispered that she was going to the bathroom, suggesting I come with her. At first, I thought maybe she had noticed the man's odd behavior and was trying to help. But then I saw her phone light up in her lap with a message that said yes. It was from an unsaved number. I felt my stomach drop. She never went to the bathroom. We all just sat there as the second half of the play dragged on. Tension thick in the air, both of them glancing at me. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest. The moment the play ended, I got up and climbed over the woman, making my way to the exit as fast as possible. Once outside, I darted to the bathroom, trying to collect myself. When I finally came out, I saw the man and woman standing in the corner of the foyer, having what looked like a heated, whispering argument. When the woman spotted me, she immediately stopped talking, and the man began walking toward me. "I can give you a ride to your apartment," he offered. I told him no, and that my brother was picking me up. Just then, one of my classmates ran over, calling out to me, "Susie, Susie, hey Susie." Not my real name, but for privacy, let's go with that. The man backed off when he saw my friend. We left together, and as we walked out, I heard him yell behind me, "Susie, hope to see you again." I didn't look back, I just ran, staying on the phone with my mom the whole way home. Now I can't stop wondering, why did they act like they didn't know each other when clearly they did? Why did they both ask me the same creepy questions, touching my arm like they were trying to establish some weird familiarity? And what was with the texts? Were they communicating with each other the whole time about me? Where did that candy come from? Why was it already opened? Why didn't he eat it? And why did they keep acting like they were trying to separate me, asking me if I wanted to go to the bathroom or ride with them? Am I paranoid, or was something seriously wrong? I had help with making this story clearer, but the experience is entirely accurate and happened to me. Also, a girl had been abducted, trafficked, and murdered in my college town a year or two before I was there. The whole situation makes me uneasy.
So thanks for being with us. The RR Show is a production of Evergreen Podcasts and Wessler Media. Now, if you'd be so kind, please follow or subscribe to our show wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're feeling extra nice, you might as well leave a 5-star review. But for more, visit the website, rrshow.com. That is rrshow.com. I'm your host, Vince, and we'll see you next time here on The RR Show.